Look around you for a moment, not casually, not with the soft, distracted glance most men use to avoid seeing the truth. I mean really look. Because if you do, you'll notice something everywhere, a sickness, a quiet infection spreading through modern men. And chances are you've seen it more times than you can count. Most men today desperately want one thing: to appear harmless. Watch them. They shrink themselves on purpose. They soften their voices halfway through a sentence if they think they came across too strong. They force a laugh at jokes they don't find funny just to avoid standing out. They hide their real opinions behind safe, agreeable statements. They walk through life like they're afraid of leaving imprints on the floor. If you ask them why they behave this way, they'll tell you they're being polite, respectful, considerate, easygoing, but you and I both know the truth. It's not politeness. It's not wisdom. It's not emotional maturity. It's fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of disapproval. Fear of being judged. Fear of being labeled too intense, too serious, too direct, too much. They've convinced themselves that blending in is a virtue, that making everyone comfortable is success, that being universally liked matters more than being respected by the few who actually matter. But then there's you. You don't beg to be understood. You don't chase approval. You don't twist yourself into something smaller just so weak men feel taller standing next to you. Your energy moves differently. Your presence hits harder. Your silence carries weight. Your eyes reveal more truth than your words ever need to. And because of that, modern society only has one label ready for you: intimidating. You've heard it before, haven't you? Maybe not directly, but you've felt it. You've seen people tense up around you without knowing why. You've heard comments like, "He seems cold. He's intense. There's something about him. I can't really read him." Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever threatened these people? Have you ever harmed them? Have you ever done anything to deserve this label of dangerous? No, you simply refuse to shrink. And in a world where 99% of men make themselves small, the man who doesn't shrink looks like a threat. This is where Machiavelli enters the picture. If he observed your life right now, he wouldn't judge you by your smile. He wouldn't care how friendly you appear on the surface. He would ask one question: is this man easy to control? Because in a world ruled by manipulation, social pressure, and emotional blackmail, the most dangerous man is not the loudest, not the strongest, not the one with the biggest muscles or the harshest tone. The dangerous man is the one who cannot be bent, the one who cannot be bought, the one who cannot be guilted into obedience, the one who cannot be pressured into submission. And that kind of man always disturbs the weak. Your calmness under pressure unsettles people. Your direct gaze makes them nervous. Your refusal to explain yourself irritates those who survive by extracting explanations. Your clarity cuts through their masks like a blade. You don't act dangerous. You simply don't act harmless. And in this era of soft, shaky men, that alone is enough to make you unforgettable. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I do not shrink. Most people walk through life blind, not because their eyes don't work, but because they only listen to words. They take everything at face value. They hear apologies and assume sincerity. They hear confidence and assume strength. They hear kindness and assume loyalty. They hear excuses and assume truth. They never look deeper. They never question intent. They never notice the details that reveal everything about a person's character. But you're different. You don't just hear words, you study the space between them. You don't just listen to what people say, you watch how they say it. You read people in a way most men don't even understand. Let me ask you something. When someone talks to you, what do you pay attention to first? Their tone, their hesitation, their posture, the shift in their breathing, the flicker in their eyes when they're lying, because whether you realize it or not, you've been collecting information your whole life. Silently, effortlessly, strategically. You catch the little red flags others miss. The way someone repeats a sentence they're not confident in, the way they over-explain a lie because they fear you don't believe them, the way their voice changes when the power dynamic shifts, the way they suddenly act polite around people. They want something from the way they disappear when you need them, but reappear the moment they need something. Normal men overlook these things. But you don't. You see patterns. You observe behavior. You remember details. You connect dots without needing proof. And here's the part that truly separates you from the average man. You don't react immediately. You don't call someone out the moment they reveal their weakness. You don't expose a liar the instant you catch the lie. You don't confront someone mid-performance. No, you let the performance finish. You let them reveal everything they think they're hiding. You allow the mask to slip on its own. And then, quietly, without announcement, you adjust your distance. Maybe you stop trusting them. Maybe you stop sharing your plans. Maybe you stop being accessible. Maybe you cut them out completely. But you do it silently, strategically, without drama. Machiavelli lived in a world where trust could cost you your life. He understood something most men today never learn. The man who sees human nature clearly is the man who survives. You operate the same way. You read people not to judge them, but to understand what they're capable of. Who's loyal? Who's pretending? Who's dangerous? Who's desperate? Who's weak? Who's useful? Who's a liability? Your mind is always scanning, even if you never speak it out loud. And this terrifies manipulators, because their usual weapons, guilt, fake charm, pity, flattery, emotional pressure, don't work on you. It's like watching someone try to unlock a door with the wrong key. Every tactic fails, and they feel exposed in a way they can't explain. So what do? They accuse you of being cold. They say you're reading too deeply into things. They tell you you're too serious, too analytical, too intense. But what they really mean is, I can't control you, and that scares me. You're not paranoid, you're not overthinking, you're simply aware in a world that rewards blindness. And when a man can see people for who they really are, not who they pretend to be, that man becomes dangerous. Not because he seeks conflict, but because he cannot be fooled. Drop this affirmation in the calm. There's something about you that most people can't explain. They feel it before they understand it. They sense it before they can name it. It shows up in how you walk, how you stand, how you breathe, how you exist in a room. It's not aggression. It's not arrogance. It's not hostility. It's weight. The kind only carried by someone who has lived through things that would have broken weaker men. People think your intensity is a choice. They think your seriousness is a personality trait. They think your quietness is a preference. But you know the truth. You didn't become this way by accident. Life carved this into you. You faced financial pressure that kept you awake at 3 a.m. doing mental math, wondering how you would survive another month. You've known betrayal from people you defended when no one else would. You've had friends who turned out to be enemies wearing familiar faces. You've suffered losses that felt so humiliating, so personal that you questioned your own worth. You've stood in moments where no one came to save you, no backup, no safety net, no comforting voice. It was just you and the storm. And in those moments you had two options, collapse or harden. You hardened, not emotionally dead, not numb, just forged, reshaped, reinforced from the inside out. Your nervous system changed, your tolerance changed. Your sense of danger changed. Your ability to trust changed. Your willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt disappeared. You stopped expecting fairness from the world. You stopped assuming people had good intentions. You stopped handing out trust like candy. And that right there is what Machiavelli understood best. A man who has never been tested is a dangerous liability. He folds the moment life stops being polite. He crumbles the moment pressure hits. But a man who has been through hell, a man who has been burned and rebuilt, that man is unpredictable. That man is resilient. That man is dangerous in the way strong men must be. And you carry that now. People feel it when they're near you, even if they don't know why. You don't react to small drama. You don't panic when things go wrong. You don't crumble under stress that would shatter someone softer. Why? Because your past was harder than their present. Because your scars taught you calm. Because you've been in situations where the stakes were real, not imagined. So when someone complains about minor inconveniences, you look at them with quiet disbelief. That's what you're upset about. They can feel that look. They can feel that you're built differently. They can feel your past even though they don't know the story. And this makes them uncomfortable because your aura is shaped by survival, not victimhood, survival. Not weakness, resilience, not trauma, rebirth. Your scars aren't visible, but they're written all over how you move, in the way you don't chase people, in the way you don't beg for clarity, in the way you don't react emotionally, in the way you don't fear loss anymore. You've already faced loss. You've already faced betrayal. You've already faced failure. You've already faced isolation. And you survived all of it. That survival is your armor. That armor is your edge. And that edge is what people interpret as danger. Weak men fear your scars, not because they understand them, but because they don't have any of their own. Drop this affirmation in the comments: my scars are my strength. There's a reason you feel different from the men around you. A reason your presence carries weight. A reason people sense something in you that feels sharp, controlled, and untouchable. It's because you do what almost no man today is willing to do. You choose discomfort on purpose. Most men run from anything that challenges them. They try to make life as easy as possible. They look for shortcuts. They avoid pain, responsibility, and pressure. They distract themselves with entertainment, pleasure, and noise. Why? Because comfort feels safe. Comfort feels controlled. Comfort feels predictable, but comfort also destroys men silently. A man who avoids discomfort becomes weak without noticing it. He loses discipline. He loses mental toughness. He loses emotional control. He loses ambition. He loses the edge that makes him formidable. Comfort turns lions into house pets. But somewhere in your life, something changed. You reached a point where the pain of staying the same became greater than the pain of discomfort. And instead of running from challenge, you ran toward it. You started doing the things your old self avoided. Waking up early, building discipline, working when you didn't feel like it, cutting out distractions, saying no to easy pleasure, facing truth you used to ignore, strengthening your body instead of abandoning it, sitting in silence. Instead of drowning yourself in noise, you stopped letting your emotions lead you. You started letting your goals lead you. And that shift, tiny at first, turned you into someone unrecognizable. Because here's the truth Machiavelli understood better than anyone. A man who can endure discomfort gains power over himself, and a man with power over himself becomes untouchable. People feel this in you. They don't know your routines. They don't know your sacrifices. They don't know the internal battles you fight daily, but they feel the results. They see it when you're calm in situations that make others panic. They see it when you stay focused while others get distracted. They see it when you don't fold under pressure. They see it when you hold the line on your boundaries. They see it when you walk with quiet, grounded confidence. A man who chooses discomfort becomes impossible to manipulate. Why? Because discomfort is the tool manipulators use to control people. Guilt is discomfort. Rejection is discomfort. Disapproval is discomfort. Shame is discomfort. Silence is discomfort. Conflict is discomfort. But you're not afraid of any of these things anymore. People can't guilt trip you. They can't pressure you. They can't intimidate you. They can't emotionally corner you. They can't use silence to break you. They can't use rejection to control you. Because you've trained yourself to face the very things others avoid. This makes you dangerous in a way that can't be taught in books, gyms, or seminars. It's a danger forged through discipline, not emotion. Through action, not talk. Through inner work, not external show. Most men pretend to be strong until life tests them. You became strong by letting life test you again and again without backing down. Your relationship with discomfort is what separates you. It's what shapes your aura. It's what gives your presence weight. It's what allows you to walk into the world as someone who cannot be bought, bent, or broken. Because the man who fears discomfort will always be controllable. But the man who chooses discomfort becomes unstoppable. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I walk toward discomfort. There's a particular kind of freedom most men will never experience, the freedom of not caring if the world misunderstands you. Most men bend themselves into shapes that don't fit. They soften their edges. They disguise their ambition. They mute their opinions. They shrink their presence. They water themselves down until they become easily digestible to everyone. Why? Because they fear judgment more than they fear stagnation. They want everyone to approve of them, everyone to like them, everyone to feel comfortable around them. And in that desperate chase for acceptance, they abandon the very qualities that could have made them powerful. But you moved in a different direction. Somewhere along the way, you realized something life-changing. Being understood is optional. Being respected is not. So you stopped explaining yourself. You stopped clarifying your intentions for people who weren't listening. You stopped offering context to those who had already made assumptions. You stopped trying to fix the way others perceive you. And in doing so, you gain something far more valuable. You gain the ability to stand alone. Here's what most men never figure out. When you don't fear being misunderstood, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable men are powerful. People can't read you anymore. They can't categorize you. They can't anticipate your moves. They can't manipulate you with emotional tactics because you don't react the way average men do. You don't panic when someone labels you cold. You don't rush to soften yourself when someone calls you intense. You don't chase after the approval of people who never earned your respect. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He wrote that a leader must be willing to be misunderstood, even hated, if it means protecting his principles and his position. Modern society hates men who think this way. They prefer men who apologize for their masculinity. They prefer men who fold under pressure. They prefer men who trade their identity for acceptance. You refuse to make that trade. You realize that trying to be universally liked is the fastest way to become invisible. Trying to be understood by everyone is the fastest way to lose yourself. Trying to please others is the fastest way to betray your own potential. So you let the misunderstandings come. Let them think you're quiet because you have nothing to say, not because you don't waste words. Let them think your silence is disinterest, not observation. Let them think your confidence is arrogance, not experience. Let them think your distance is coldness, not self-respect. Let them misinterpret your calm as weakness until they see how you act under pressure. Because here's the truth: a misunderstood man is a man who cannot be controlled. People fear what they can't define. They respect what they can't predict. They stay cautious around what they can't fully understand. Your mystery is not a flaw, it's a weapon. It keeps the wrong people away and attracts the ones who recognize quiet power when they see it. The man who fears misunderstanding becomes a puppet. The man who embraces misunderstanding becomes a force. And that is why your presence unsettles people in ways they can't explain. You move with a level of independence that threatens their need for control. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what you're planning. They don't know what you're capable of. And that uncertainty, that ambiguity, that inability to read you, that is what makes you dangerous. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I am not here to be understood. There's a kind of power most men never develop, not because they're incapable of it, but because they're addicted to noise. They talk too much, explain too much, justify too much, announce too much, reveal too much of what they're planning, thinking, wanting, fearing. Their entire identity leaks out of their mouth. Every goal they have is broadcasted. Every insecurity is disguised as a joke. Every intention is revealed before it ever becomes reality. Every setback turns into a long story filled with excuses. They think communication makes them confident, but real confidence doesn't need an audience. You learned this the hard way. Somewhere in your life, after enough betrayals, failures, fake friendships, and broken trust, you made an unspoken decision. You would stop talking and start observing. Stop explaining and start moving. Stop announcing and start acting. And that decision changed your entire presence. Now you say less, you reveal less, you promise less, you boast less, you defend yourself less. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's strategy. Because you realize something Machiavelli taught over 500 years ago. A man who speaks little is impossible to predict, and a man who is impossible to predict is impossible to control. People underestimate how powerful this is. When a man controls his tongue, he controls his impulses. He controls his emotions. He controls his reactions. He controls the information others have access to. Most men have no idea how much they expose when they open their mouth. But you You keep your thoughts behind locked doors. People can't tell if you're upset or unbothered. They can't tell if you're planning something or simply thinking. They can't tell if you're judging them or analyzing them. They can't tell what motivates you, what scares you, or what drives you. This makes them uneasy. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their insecurities. They start projecting their fears, doubts, and assumptions onto you. Some think you're arrogant. Some think you're calculating. Some think you're distant. Some think you're hiding something. But none of them know the truth. You're just disciplined. Disciplined enough to not waste breath on nonsense. Disciplined enough to not reveal your next move. Disciplined enough to let your results do the talking. Your silence has turned into a kind of intimidation that doesn't require effort. It doesn't require anger. It doesn't require raised voices or dramatic gestures. All it requires is control, something modern men lack deeply. And this is what scares people about you. They cannot predict you. They cannot manipulate you. They cannot trigger you. They cannot decipher your intentions. They cannot pull you into emotional games. Your actions reveal who you are far more than your words ever could. Your decisions show your strength. Your consistency shows your discipline. Your boundaries show your self-respect. Your progress shows your ambition. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You only need one thing, the quiet certainty of a man who moves with purpose. This is what separates you from the masses, the ones who talk more than they act, dream more than they work, promise more than they deliver. You reverse the ratio. You act more than you speak. You deliver more than you announce. You achieve more than you explain. And that silence, that calm, disciplined, strategic silence is what makes you dangerous. Most men are predictable. You can read them in minutes. You know exactly what they want, what they fear, what they'll tolerate, and what they'll chase. They expose everything without realizing it. Their intentions, their weaknesses, their insecurities, their desires. And because they're predictable, they're forgettable. No one fears them. No one respects them deeply. No one wonders who they really are. They move through life like open books written in cheap ink. But then there's you. You carry something most men never develop, a mystery that cannot be decoded. People sense it from the moment they meet you. They feel it before you speak a word. Your presence forces them to pay attention, to observe you, to study you. Yet the more they watch, the less they understand. You don't give people the full version of you. You give them fragments, controlled, measured, intentional pieces that reveal just enough, but never everything. Your thoughts stay in your mind. Your plans stay in motion. Your feelings stay grounded. Your intentions stay protected. People are left wondering, what is he thinking? What motivates him? Why can't I read him? Why does he seem so calm all the time? What is he hiding? They assume you're hiding something dark, something powerful, something dangerous. But the truth is simpler. You're hiding nothing. You're simply not broadcasting everything. And that alone makes you different. Machiavelli understood the importance of mystery. He taught that the moment a man becomes completely understood, he becomes predictable. Predictable men are easy to manipulate, easy to dismantle, easy to defeat. But the man who moves silently, who reveals nothing out of weakness, who keeps his inner world locked and guarded, that man becomes untouchable. Your mystery gives you several forms of power, one you can't be prepared for. People don't know what you're capable of, so they proceed with caution. 2, you can't be manipulated. Manipulation requires emotional access. Access you simply don't give. 3, you can't be underestimated. Every time someone tries to figure you out, they realize you're deeper than they assumed, for you can't be replaced. A mysterious man stands out without effort. He lingers in people's thoughts. He becomes unforgettable. But here's what truly makes your mystery dangerous. You don't hide behind it. You embody it. You don't exaggerate your silence. You don't act mysterious for validation. You don't pretend to be unreadable. You simply live with discipline, restraint, and self-respect. And to people who lack those qualities, that feels like darkness. Your mystery doesn't come from deception. It comes from Private goals, controlled emotions, selective vulnerability, unshakable self-worth, disciplined habits. A past you don't advertise, boundaries that don't bend. You are not complicated. You are simply not accessible. And modern people confuse inaccessibility with danger. They project their insecurities onto your silence. They romanticize your calmness. They fear your stillness. They assume you know more than you express. They think there's something hidden beneath your surface, and they're right. There is something beneath your surface, depth. Depth created by experience, scars, discipline, discomfort, silence, and self-control. That depth is not decoration. It is not performance. It is not a mask. It is who you truly are. This is why people don't forget you. This is why your presence leaves an imprint. This is why manipulative people avoid you. This is why weak men feel uneasy around you. This is why you stand out without trying. Your mystery is not darkness, it is mastery. And the man who has mastered himself will always feel dangerous to those who never mastered anything. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My mystery is my power. There is a final stage in your evolution, a point where everything you've become, everything you've endured, and everything you've learned comes together into one unshakable truth. You cannot be controlled. This is the moment a man becomes truly dangerous. Not because he seeks to dominate others, not because he imposes his will through aggression, not because he intimidates with force, but because nothing external holds power over him anymore. Money doesn't control you. Approval doesn't control you. Fear doesn't control you. Guilt doesn't control you. Pressure doesn't control you. Opinions don't control you. Rejection doesn't control you. This kind of inner sovereignty is rare. It is feared, respected, and misunderstood. Most men spend their entire lives trying to earn validation from systems designed to drain them. But you stepped out of that cycle. Somewhere in your life, you made a quiet decision, a decision stronger than any promise spoken out loud. I will never betray myself again. That is when everything changed. You stopped chasing relationships that drained you. You stopped entertaining meaningless conversations. You stopped giving energy to people who only took. You stopped negotiating your standards to make others comfortable. You stopped compromising your principles for approval. You stopped folding at the slightest pushback. You built something stronger than armor, self-respect. And once a man has genuine self-respect, he becomes impossible to break. Because breaking a man requires one thing: access. Access to his fears, access to his insecurities, access to his emotional triggers, access to the parts of him he hasn't mastered. But you've closed those doors, not out of coldness, but out of clarity. You are no longer led by impulse, no longer led by emptiness, no longer led by loneliness, no longer led by old wounds, no longer led by chaos. You are led by intention, by awareness, by discipline, by strategy, by strength. And this terrifies people. They can't push your buttons, you removed them. They can't pressure you, you do fold. They can't bait you, your emotions don't react. They can't guilt you, you know your worth. They can't manipulate you, you see through the tactic before it begins. To the weak, this looks like ruthlessness. To the insecure, this looks like arrogance. To manipulators, this looks like a threat. But to the wise, to the experienced, to those who understand human nature, this looks like power. Machiavelli taught that the strongest men are not the loudest, not the angriest, not the most aggressive. The strongest are the ones who cannot be controlled by anything, not fortune, not other people, not circumstances, not fear. You have become that man. You faced your past without running. You built discipline where weakness once lived. You cut out what was poisoning you. You accepted discomfort as a path, not a punishment. You embraced silence over explanation. You learned to observe instead of react. You protected your energy with unbreakable boundaries. You stopped trying to be understood by people who never understood themselves. And the result is simple. You are unshakable, unmovable, unbendable, unbreakable. People don't fear you because you are dangerous. They fear you because you can't be controlled. And that is the highest form of strength a man can possess. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I cannot be controlled.